Well, good morning. We are coming to you live from the Department of Natural Resources. My name is Kevin Wallenfang, and I am the big game ecologist for the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. And with me is Scott Carroll, who is a Rules and Regulations Specialist at the DNR, and Matt O'Brien, who is on our Bureau of Law Enforcement. And we are here today to talk to you and try to get you a little bit excited, if that's even necessary, about the 2018 Archery and Crossbow deer hunting seasons, which start this Saturday. So we hope you've been out doing your scouting, looking for deer, shooting your bow and your crossbow this summer, and getting proficient with your weapons and getting excited about the season. So we're going to run through a handful of things here today to get you ready, and I'm going to start out first off with just a very basic season outlook, and the season outlook looks extremely good. So we've had another fairly mild to moderate winter in northern Wisconsin, throughout southern Wisconsin, and as a result of that, and the 3 previous years before that, we have deer numbers that are on the increase. We've only got 1 buck-only unit this year, so deer numbers across the north are up as well. Lots of reports this summer of nice big bucks with a great growing season, a lot of moisture this summer, abundant crops out there. The acorn crop looks fantastic for the fall. Lots of reports of twins and triplets on the landscape, so lots of fawn production out there. So as a result of that, deer numbers in much of the state are quite high, at least good, across the northern part of the state. And there are antlerless permits available out there. There are still some antlerless permits available for sale. So you can jump on the department websites or go to your nearest licensed vendor, see what is available to you. And remember, if you hunt in a farmland zone area, we do have the antlerless permits, the farmland zone antlerless permits that are included with your hunting license. If you've already bought your license but have not claimed those tags yet, you can go on your Go Wild account, and you can select your units and print them right off at your computer from home. So we're looking forward to a really good deer season. As I think you all know, Wisconsin is well known across the country as one of the best bow hunting states in the country. A lot of big deer. We lead the Pope and Young and Boone and Crockett record books in big deer and abundance. We shoot regularly over 300,000 deer a year in Wisconsin, and we anticipate a season at least that good, if not better, for this year. So looking forward to a lot of success out there. And to help you do that, we are going to cover a few more things here. So I'm going to throw it to Scott, and he is going to talk about some of the changes in the rules for this year.
Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, there are some important changes that hunters should be aware of going into this season. First and foremost is we have new CWD carcass movement restrictions for wild deer. This rule is effective today as an emergency rule, and what it basically does is it further restricts the ability for hunters to move whole deer carcasses out of a CWD affected county. So if you are a hunter who does want to take the whole deer out of the county, you basically have 2 options. You can take it to a licensed meat processor or a permitted taxidermist, and you can do that within 72 hours now of when the deer leaves the county of harvest. So if you're somebody who likes to process your deer and you live outside of the county that you hunt in, you have a couple options now. You can first quarter your deer before it leaves the county, or you can debone it and then take it anywhere outside of the county. But we do ask that you leave the carcass parts, typically the head, the spine, and the lymph nodes, in the county of harvest now. So if you hunt in the same county that you live in, you're not going to have any new issues. If you take your deer primarily to a meat processor or taxidermist, this rule isn't really going to affect you. And also, if you live in a non-CWD affected county, really these rules are not going to impact you in any way. It's only if you're somebody who hunts in a CWD affected county and has to take that deer outside of that county for whatever reason it might be. And we'll be posting a video online after this Facebook Live going into more detail about what these new rules do and what you can and cannot do now with your deer harvested from a CWD affected county. So we also have some new unit boundaries for our deer management units. We have some new metro subunits. Some units have been amended. We ask that you go to your deer regs, whether it's in paper or online, check out the maps, and it'll show you the new metro subunits and the new deer unit boundaries for this year. We also have new baiting and feeding restrictions. I believe 1 county has been removed, with other counties being added. This is kind of a map that's in flux based on whether or not we have a CWD positive or not. So we ask that you go to our website and make sure that you have the most up-to-date version of the map before you do decide to go out with baiting and feeding Also, same thing with CWD affected counties. We have 9 new CWD affected counties for this year. So just because you were in a non-CWD affected county last year doesn't mean you are again this year. So again, go to our website, dnr.wi.gov, search for CWD, and you'll have the most up-to-date map of what counties are considered CWD affected. We also have some extended archery seasons for this year, so there's opportunities at the end of the year to have a little bit a longer bow season. And also, finally, our deer tags. As you know, last year you weren't required to actually attach a deer tag to the deer. Same rules in effect for this year. And now, since it's no longer considered a tag, we're not actually physically placing a tag on the deer. We've changed the name from tags to harvest authorizations. Next, I'll hand it over to Matt, who'll talk about our options for registering deer this year.
Right, so we've seen a few changes with deer registration the past few years. It's important to remember that deer registration is still mandatory. That scientific data is very important to us. And there's a couple different ways that you can accomplish registration. The first and easiest by far is to just go online. You can either do that from a computer, or I think more commonly what I see in the field are folks using their cell phones, and that's at gamereg.wi.gov. You can also call in if that's more convenient for you, 1-844-426-3734. And we also have a number of cooperating retail establishments and businesses that have phones and internet connections available for those of you that still need some type of in-person resource. And I know the data that we receive is really critical to scientific management. And Kevin, I don't know if you want to share a little bit about the value of still having that mandatory registration requirement.
Well, you know, deer registration is the backbone of Wisconsin deer management. So many decisions that we make are based on the number of deer that you tell us that you've harvested out there. It's always been that way. You know, you are the key to good deer management in Wisconsin. So we want to know that you've registered that deer. We need to know the proper information of where you've registered that animal. All of that information is used to set harvest quotas and things for the following season. So what you tell us this year is important to us next year, and we want to make sure we have good information. And I would just throw in too, you know, since we've changed to electronic registration, the compliance of hunters in doing that, and I'd like to say thank you to all of you out there, because compliance has remained high. We continue to measure registration compliance, and we are still seeing compliance of over 90% of the deer. And in fact, if you're a bow hunter or a crossbow hunter, you are the cream of the crop, and we are seeing 94% of those animals getting registered. So we'd like that other 6% of you to make sure that you get that animal registered. And you know, even if it's a little bit late, you know, we've got rules that you have to do it by 5 o'clock the day after. But even if you forget, we want to make sure that you get that animal registered so we can collect that information.
Yeah, well, I'd just like to share. I mean, the numbers of instances where we see hunters in the field, bringing their deer out of the woods, and that deer's already been registered. It's just unbelievable. And I think the 14-year-olds in the deer camps have found a renewed relevance due to their ability to get into those mobile phones and get those registrations peeled off. And just like Kevin said, you know, our reporting deadline is 5 p.m. the day after harvest. Certainly, whenever you find yourself in non-compliance with that deadline, the best thing to do is to get yourself in compliance as soon as possible. That's the much better preferred option than not doing anything at all, because you know, for our scientific purposes, we really do need that data. And I just also want to throw out there that our online website has a ton of great resources. Our deer regulation pamphlets available at all of our vendor outlets have all these resources. And I think in a few weeks down the road, we'll hopefully be looking at producing some more tech options out there so you can access this type of info on your cell phones.
All right, thanks, Matt. And the next topic we just want to cover really quickly is the importance of chronic wasting disease and the management of that disease here in Wisconsin. So just a couple of things that we want to remind you of. But the very first one I want to remind you of is that deer venison is some of the finest eating meat in the world, and it will continue to be that, and we want you to enjoy to continue your deer hunt and to continue to eat that venison. So we're making more and more options available to you as a hunter to get that animal tested, even if you don't personally care if the animal tests positive for CWD. You know, we know that there are lots of people out there that are really not interested. They intend to eat that animal no matter what. And that's, you know, that's your choice. You can do that, but we'd still like you to get that animal tested. because we do want you to know if it is CWD positive, we don't want you throwing those carcass parts out on the landscape. We want to continue to slow or contain the spread of chronic wasting disease. It's important for us as we continue to manage for chronic wasting disease. So rule number one, please get your deer tested. And there are so many options out there now for you to do that. There are more and more stations around the state where department staff are manning stations and are checking that deer for you, collecting samples, and usually those samples are back to you within about a week to 10 days. So it's a fairly quick turnaround. We also have other options. There are self-serve kiosks out there. There's going to be at least 100 of these around the state this year. It's like going to the night deposit at the bank. All the tools are there. You cut that animal's head off, you fill out a little paperwork, you drop it in. Within a couple of weeks, you have information back that is going to tell you if that deer was a positive or a negative detection for chronic wasting disease. We've also got self-sampling kits that are being distributed around the state, and you may want to talk to your local wildlife manager about getting your hands on one of those. And in addition, we've also got, if you're in an area where you just can't find an option to get your animal tested, you can call your local wildlife manager or call the local conservation warden. He will put you in contact, or she will put you in contact with that local biologist, and you can get that animal tested. So lots of options out there. Every county of the state, if you want to get your animal tested, we have a way for you to do that. So if you want more information about chronic wasting disease in Wisconsin, you can find lists of where the self-serve kiosks are, where there are meat processors that will accept your head, whatever it may be. Just go to the department website and plug in keyword CWD, and you're going to find a wealth of information right there. There's also a little bit of information, printed information, within the hunting regulations booklet itself. But again, that website, if there's a change in the baiting and feeding restrictions, if there's a change in the CWD counties now, those are updated regularly. As soon as they happen, they're posted on the website, and that's going to be your best source of information. So with that, I am going to throw it back over to Scott, and he's going to talk about additional information that might be of help to you.
Yeah, real quickly though, I think it might be important to touch on with CWD testing, with these new carcass transportation rules. If you live in a CWD affected county and you want to take your deer for testing and there is no testing available in that county of harvest, the rules allow you to take that deer head and the neck or whatever you need to have the lymph nodes along with it outside of the county harvest if you're taking it directly to a sampling center approved by the department. So just keep that in mind. Just because there are carcass transportation rules, we still allow you to take a deer head outside of the county of harvest for CWD sampling. But as Matt mentioned, our website is a great resource for everything you need to know for deer hunting. If you go to dnr.wi.gov, there'll be a search bar, and really the search bar is your key to navigating our website. So if you want rule regulation information for deer, just type in deer in the search bar and you'll get anything regarding deer regulations and our new rules, including the CWD movement rules. If you use Game Reg, you can go to Game Reg, or so if you search for keyword Game Reg, brush up on registration requirements before you go out into the field. Go Wild is a great resource so for your licenses, so gowild.wi.gov, where you can purchase your license, bonus authorizations, and much more. So if you use keyword Wild Wisconsin, you'll find our web series, our podcasts, which are great resources. All that's available on our website. And finally, if you want to follow DNR on social media, go use keyword Connect, and then you can find out how to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and the like.
Okay, and just to back up a little bit about the new transport rules, this is probably going to be the one new rule this year that is going to cause more people to try to wrap their head around this thing. I just want to tell you that we are all in the same boat. I hunt in Vilas County, and I live in Dane County and rarely hunt in Dane County. So, we are all trying to wrap our heads around this a little bit and getting used to the idea. And it's just going to take a little bit of planning. If you hunt in the western states, I don't think this is going to be that big of a deal for you. You're going to be used to having to pull that carcass apart into various pieces before you bring it back into Wisconsin. And by the way, if you are watching from out of state, keep in mind that there are regulations regarding taking an animal back to your own state. All of our surrounding states have similar rules, so we want to make sure that you are aware of that. If you're a non-resident, But this is just something that all of us, we've dealt with a lot of new rules in recent years, and I don't think it's going to be that complicated for most of you. As Scott had covered earlier, if you hunt in the same county that you live in, you can do things pretty much the same way as you always have. If you have always taken an animal to a meat processor, again, I don't think that's going to be much of a problem. You can continue to do that. So it's for those of us that like to process our own deer at home. We're the ones that are going to have to adjust to this, but you know how to break that animal apart. If you've processed your deer before, an hour or two in camp, you should be able to bring that animal back without any problem, be in full compliance of the law, and help us contain and stop the spread of chronic wasting disease around Wisconsin. So with that, I just want to throw into what is coming next. And I want to let you know that later this week we are going to be launching Season 2 of Wild Wisconsin. And if you followed some of that last year, you saw that we had some great YouTube videos that are produced right here within the department. We're talking to experts out in the field about various aspects of deer hunting in Wisconsin. We cover all kinds of topics from cooking to rules and regulations to techniques to habitat management for your property, all kinds of great stuff on there. So beyond that, we also have podcasts that go along with those topics that are a little more extensive and dig way down deep into the details of deer hunting and deer management in Wisconsin. So we want you to watch Wild Wisconsin. And then also coming soon, we have a new Hunt Wild Wisconsin mobile app. Did I say that right? Hunt Wild Wisconsin mobile app is going to be coming soon. They're going to be announcing that right here on Facebook, so you will get all the details of that as soon as it is available to you. And coming up, in addition to the start of the archery and the crossbow season this weekend, we've got disabled hunts, special hunts for the disabled coming up. So if you fall into that category, go online. You can find information about where those hunts are going to be held. We've got the youth hunt also coming up about that same time in the first week or so of October. So opportunities to get the young folks out there, get them involved in hunting and enjoying the great deer management resources that we have here in the great state of Wisconsin. So anything you guys want to say in closing?
Well, just to close it out, I'd just like to share that 3 common tenets that make for successful deer hunting. Remember, respect yourself, respect others, and respect the resource. And when I say respect yourself, take care of yourself when you're out there. Make sure from a tree stand safety perspective, you always have your 3 points of contact, that you're wearing your safety harness and you're ascending using a lifeline, and that you're hauling your unloaded weapons up a haul line. Who knows where you're hunting, what time are you supposed to return? You're bringing your cell phone with you. Do you have alternatives to cell phones? I know as the cold weather descends, I found myself those lithium batteries don't last really long, and your cell phone will be at 94%, and suddenly when you go to use it, it's down to 4%. So make sure you take care of yourself, know your weapons, get things sighted in properly, have good equipment. Respect others, right? Make sure we have permission for all the lands that we need to enter. If your animal jumps over a fence line, be sure to reach out to those other landowners and get permission to retrieve it. Be respectful on state lands, not only with other hunters, but remember our state properties have a diverse user groups that may be walking their dogs or out there doing bird watching or camping or whatever. So be respectful of others, and lastly, respect the resource. If you maybe don't believe you have a real good chance at recovering an animal from a shot you want to take, maybe pass it up and wait for a better opportunity down the road. And likewise, if you detect natural resource violations or something just doesn't seem right, reach out to us. We have a confidential tip line that you can call or text. You can even send us photos at 1-800-TIP-WDNR. And our law enforcement staff really depend on the hunters in the woods to help self-police and be the eyes and ears to ensure that Wisconsin has a successful sporting heritage moving well into the future. So remember to respect yourself, respect others, respect the resource. Have a great season. We've got world-class deer hunting in this state because of hunters like you and the wonderful, hardworking staff over in our wildlife management section.
All right,
Scott.
Yeah.
So just to kind of recap, these are some changes for this year regarding carcass movement, but not only, as Kevin mentioned, are we, doing the same thing as everybody else, but also we here at Wildlife Management, if you have any questions for us, we are a resource here for you. We've got a frequently asked question document up on our website, which we think covers most of the questions you might have regarding these new rule changes. But if you see something on there and you aren't quite sure, don't hesitate. Give us a call, shoot us an email. I've already been, contacting people who've had questions, and I think that's great. So rather than go out there unknowing, give Kevin, Matt, or I a call or email. We'd be happy to answer any questions you have before you go out in the season.
All right, well, that's a wrap from here. We wish all of you a very successful and safe season out there. We can't wait. We're all bow hunters, and we can't wait to get out in the woods ourselves. So fall is finally here. The colors are changing up north. They're just starting a little bit, and it won't be long until the leaves are on the ground, the bucks will be rutting, and it's going to be another great deer season in Wisconsin. So best of luck, and enjoy yourself out there. This is a great state to hunt in. Lots of opportunity, and we want you to take advantage of every single one of them. So good luck.